Face everything and rise. Push through the pain, pleasure's on the other end. How do you hook their attention is by being interesting. Successful entrepreneurs don't stop. Marketing doesn't stop.
Okay.
You can lessen it. You may start off with a big boom, but you never stop.
As an entrepreneur with a global team, one of my biggest challenges was managing international payments. I was stuck with high fees, slow transfers, and endless complications. Whether it was paying my team in the Philippines or buying products from Japan, I tried multiple banks and services like PayPal, but nothing seemed to work. Then I found Wise. The savings have been huge, and transfers that used to take days now happen in hours. It's fast, simple, and has become a vital part of my business strategy. If you're not using Wise for international payments, you're missing out on a game changer. Click on the link in the description to get started with Wise today. Welcome to another episode of Inspired by Success. I'm your host, Linda Vo, and today we're diving into the world of personal branding and exponential business growth. Our guest has a proven track record of turning business owners into industry celebrities, helping them land major media appearances and scaling their companies to new heights. He's shared stages with business titans such as Richard Branson and Donald Trump, spoken in over 63 countries, and mentored countless CEOs, speakers, and coaches. With expertise in marketing strategy and a focus on one-to-many selling, he's the go-to authority for entrepreneurs looking to boost their credibility and achieve financial freedom. I'm thrilled to introduce the man known as the instant celebrity maker, Mitch Carson. Welcome to the show, Mitch.
Thanks for having me, Linda. I love your Australian accent. That comes all the way from Sydney. That's great.
It sure does. Mitch, you're known as the instant celebrity maker. Can you share a bit about how you earned that nickname and what it means in practice?
Some people believe it takes a long time to receive big recognition in their respective niche. And when I say celebrity, I'm not talking about the TV celebrity. I don't promise to make you the next Angelina Jolie. That's Hollywood. I'm referring to your business sector, your niche. If you're in the carpet cleaning industry, there are specific steps we need to take in order to elevate you so you are either the number one or number two person in that niche. Much like Coke and Pepsi. When you think of soda, drinking soda, it's either Coke or Pepsi that people think of. Typically, they go to Coke. But number two and one, at least in the US, it goes back and forth between Coke and Pepsi. And when we think about rental car agencies, it's usually one or two people to default to. And it works that way. It's even in the US, I don't know what it is in Australia, we have big mass market retailers. It's now down to Walmart and Costco, which are the two big brands here. All the others have closed up. And then, of course, you have the online component of Amazon, which is a different. But in most markets, you end up with two. Once things shake out, you have two. That gives people the opportunity for choice between one or two. And that's a pretty good position to have, because I would think even Australia, you have something called Schweppes, don't you? As in beverages.
Yes.
They didn't make it here. They got drop kicked. Schweppes is not, you don't see it on the shelves here except by rare exception. So, it's like, and same with automobiles. You look at that, like Renault, which is a French automobile, was here in my youth. They're not here. Fiat is not here. The Italian brands, they got boot kicked. Renault is French. They're gone. But the other big brands are here. And owning that status of mental real estate of being one or two in the market requires an effort, a nonstop, consistent plan, executing on the plan, and then tweaking and improving and going and doing more. Because I'm often asked, well, Mitch, how often should I be in the press? How much publicity should I engage in? How often should I post on social media? Do I really need to do that? I don't want to shake my booty on TikTok. You don't want to see me shake my booty either. I don't have a booty worth shaking, but my market's not on TikTok. So I think it starts with, Linda, and correct me if you feel otherwise, it falls on a very basic formula: right message to the right market. So it's right message, right market. It's worthy of repeating right message, right market. So if I'm a producer of left-handed golf clubs, and I'm talking about it from the stage, and everybody in the audience is right-handed, I have the right market, but the wrong message. The market is golf enthusiasts, but if they're mostly right-handed golfers, they're going to tune me out.
Yeah.
So you have to identify who your people are, the right market, then you match the product. So the message has to match the market. And of course, there's timing and a lot of other elements too, but that's the core essence of marketing oneself. To own that status as being the celebrity in your market is a consistent plan. Now, there are specific executables that we can go over during this call, but I wanted to shape the context a little bit and the expectations of it. It's not a one-off deal. I have been on hundreds of TV interviews, hundreds of interviews in print publications, including the Sydney Morning Herald back years ago in 9/11, right after the 9/11 catastrophe in America. I was interviewed in the Sydney Morning Herald because I came up with toilet paper with Osama bin Laden's face on it, and I was covered worldwide.
Wow.
Got interviewed all over the world, and I actually had one of the biggest insults from a journalist, a radio journalist in a show in Melbourne. I forgot her name, but she called me an American imperialist. She accused me of being an American imperialist with her strong. So, I can't do the Australian accent. I don't want to insult her. She said, you're an American imperialist. I said, why do you call me that?
Yeah.
She said, because you're making money off the victims and you're an imperialist. I said, well, let's use the right word of imperialist. I am a capitalist, but in this case, I'm giving the profits to the American Red Cross to help the victims. And that's my objective here. It's not to make money off a short-term situation, because those toilet paper rolls that I sold all over the world, created a lot of publicity for me, and it was called news jacking. I jacked or piggybacked on the news cycle at that moment, what was going on, and as a result, I got worldwide exposure. I got interviewed on every major television network around the globe, plus the newspapers, plus radio shows. This was before a lot of internet was exposed, but I had TV cameras come into my showroom, that I had in Los Angeles, where I lived at that point. I owned an ad agency and I had a nice showroom, and they came in and shot the toilet paper that I had up. I had T-shirts with Osama bin Laden on it and the devil chasing him with a pitchfork. I mean, all sorts of things. Golf balls with his face on it with a circle, so you smack his face. And I came up with all these little cliched items that I had a lot of inventory left over at the end of this 6-week cycle. I call it a 6-week cycle. But here's the lesson I learned. I became instantly famous because I hired a publicist. This is before I learned the craft myself. Okay. And then before I earned the label of becoming the instant celebrity maker, I hired a professional to show me the ropes. She was near retirement. She charged me $10,000 a month for a 3-month campaign. She was worth every penny. That's about the common rate for a good publicist, about $10K a month. But she said, I normally charge this for 6 months, a 6-month minimum contract. But in your case, I don't think you're going to have much more life than 2 months, maybe 3 months out of this. And I can't in good conscience charge you that. I said, okay, I would have paid it because I was that passionate about it. And I was that successful at that point where the money was not an issue. So I paid her the money, struck her a check for 30 grand. She then got me on all of these publications, all of these networks. She used fax broadcast back then. That's how long ago it was. This was 23 years ago. It was exactly 23 years ago. We're coming up to 9/11, 23 years ago. Okay. And she used fax broadcast. She wrote a press release and faxed it off to all the news stations around the world, and the phones didn't stop ringing. I was interviewed like crazy. Now, the lesson I learned was you news jack. You piggyback on a news story. Today it's AI. But there's also something called a media calendar. All of this I've learned later and incorporated with my clients when I want to get them posted on television. And it's the same all over the world. If you have something that is monumental that's going on, like right now, everything is related to the election in America about Trump and Kamala Harris. It's worldwide news because this matters. The largest, economic powerhouse in the world is going to be changing hands here very soon, one way or the other. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to shape history, and it's going to have the ripple effects all over the world.
Exactly.
Because it's based on the American economy. It's based on the American economy. Everything starts here. It's just the reality. Anything related to the economy, anything related to American politics right now, I'm talking to your audience potentially in Australia. If they can make news related to that, express an opinion related to what's going on in America, the news in Australia might be interested because you've just made yourself interesting. Let me repeat that. They might be interested. How do you hook their attention is by being interesting and expressing an opinion that is tied to a current worldwide event. Could be a local event. I don't know what's going on in Sydney this week. And if someone wanted to get on into the local newspaper, is the Sydney Morning Herald still around? Because that's where I was published by them during this time. Okay. So the Sydney Morning Herald, if you had a unique opinion on what's happening in their opinion section in the newspaper, it would be a great way to get editorial coverage, have a writer cover your opinion based on your expertise as a political analyst about the American economy and how it's going to then affect local Australians. What will it do to Australia, specifically Sydney Australians? What's happening in America? You submit that article, I can virtually guarantee you they'll pick it up.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Hint, hint, Australians. Oi, oi, oi. Okay?
But then, do you know, in today's, Sydney Morning Herald, the newspaper, it's dying. I used to work for Fairfax. So I understand how the decline of newspaper is going. But in today's digital landscape, how can businesses start to differentiate themselves and also build a unique brand? Because I've noticed on LinkedIn, there's more thought leaders. And you mentioned a lot of people are posting. You should be getting more followers on LinkedIn as well. So how can business owners start to differentiate and build that brand?
Well, I'll comment there. Let me go back to the print publication because it will be dead shortly. But right now, if you're covered in print, you'll have legacy value. Legacy value because it is physical. It's not a digital print. They have a digital version. They all do, or they would be dead. It's totally worth it. Still, the biggest publication in the world is the Wall Street Journal. It's print and online. So I will agree with you that it's dying, but it's not dead. It's just changing. And to embrace it. It's just one vehicle. I would also use that potentially to get on a radio show in Sydney. I would also use it to get on a television show in Sydney as a possibility, or a big YouTube influencer, or you could certainly write an article about it and submit it to a big LinkedIn with somebody with a big LinkedIn following. There are people with LinkedIn followings of 100,000 people. That's huge. They've got every bit as much might if they've got an engaged audience as a radio show does. And these are people that make a lot of money globally. So LinkedIn is a huge platform, one to pay attention to. If you are business to business, you have to be on LinkedIn. To overlook it is to your own peril.
How often do you write, if you're going to be a thought leader on LinkedIn, what do you recommend? How often do you post on LinkedIn?
It's recommended Monday through Friday. And it can vary. You can upload some of your shorts. You just can't use you can't use a YouTube link because it won't rank. So if you put up a short, it has to be a naked video. You follow? You just can't copy paste, because if you use your LinkedIn, if you post YouTube on your LinkedIn comment section, guess what LinkedIn will do? Not give you any credit, and they might even block it. The reason for it is they don't want anybody to leave their platform.
Smart. So pasting the raw form or short. Oh, I'll definitely apply, because I've been posting the YouTube long form link on my LinkedIn.
No. That's why you're not getting any juice on LinkedIn.
Right.
That's why you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's you have to post only raw, and I think LinkedIn has a limit of 15 minutes of video. I'll have to double check that, but the shorts obviously are short. Those can work. You can put a short up every day, but don't use your YouTube short link from YouTube. It's just the raw piece.
No link. Okay.
And then you could also put a summary in there, which will add to it, which will help in creating that community. And the other big thing that I took away is, like, when people podcast, is creating a newsletter. And AI can help. Yeah, you should create a newsletter. And LinkedIn has a newsletter system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. And the truth, or I mean, what I have found, regardless of the niche, is you have to embrace lots of media. Get very good at one, and then you can expand to others. Like, be very good at YouTube, and then you can get very good at LinkedIn. But if you are a speaker, author, coach, LinkedIn and YouTube. Maybe Instagram, depending on how old you are in your audience, or Facebook. But TikTok tends to lean towards younger. I don't take it seriously. I get those those TikTok videos of gals that are bouncing and their boobs are. I mean, it's interesting the first couple times. When buddies have forwarded it to me, I'll look at this. I mean, I laugh, smile, but after a while, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time for me. It's like, I don't
I
go to
had
strip
delete
clubs.
it as well.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was in my 20s, people would say, "Oh, let's go to a strip club when you're on business." I don't want to pollute your audience, but it's the truth. I was young and dumb, and I went and wasted money with no possibility of ever dating one of those ladies. And it was just like, it's like, today, would I even think of going to a strip club? No, not for all the tea in China. It's just no interest to me. Same with TikTok. I'm not interested in going on TikTok because it's not my audience.
Exactly. You got to know where your audience
serious
is.
Business people. Why waste time on these shiny object distractions? Because they're distracting. I mean, no different. I mean, somebody doing, okay, funny one time, maybe two times, go with blonde to brunette. After that, I'm done. I'm not even ready for the redhead. So I'm done.
I agree. You have to be the producer, not the consumer. And that's definitely a time waster there. But you mentioned AI as well. How has the landscape of personal branding changed with the rise of AI and other technologies? Because I leverage it. I love AI. And some people
love
fear
AI
it.
too. I teach people how to write books and then upload them. And then I also offer a bestseller campaign guarantee for certain of my people, because it's all part about elevating your personal brand. If you are an author, if you are a speaker, author, coach, or CEO, and you don't have a book, you're not serious. Got to be serious, and you got to show the proof.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of creating a peacock, and a peacock has colorful feathers around him. The male peacock, the female doesn't have pretty feathers. The male does, and he's got to use that to attract the female. And the most attractive female the most attractive male gets the prize. Now, how do you peacock yourself metaphorically? I've been covered on Linda Vo's podcast. I've been covered on this and so podcast. I was covered on the online portion of the Sydney Morning Herald, maybe the print. I was also covered on a radio show out of Sydney or Los Angeles, or wherever else. I was on so-and-so's YouTube channel interview, which was a live cast, maybe, a live stream. I was interviewed, and it broadcast on X, it broadcast on LinkedIn, it broadcast on Facebook and YouTube, all of those platforms simultaneously, because they use StreamYard or whatever it was. And you're omnipresent with your message to where your market exists. That's how you become a celebrity. And if you show all of those badges behind you in your feather crest as a peacock, making those loud sounds. They're an annoying bird, but they make these sounds and they've got all these feathers that are beautiful. That's how you become a celebrity. You've got to beat your chest like a gorilla.
I like that, especially in business as well, and to stand out.
You
mentioned a book, right? You got to get a book. I'm just curious. A lot of people hold back because me, for one, I'd love to write a book, a biography, but how long does it take, do you reckon? Now that we've got AI, what do you there's no excuses, I guess, but
I've got 17 people right now in my book writing class, and then I have another 7 in my advanced who are then taking it all the way to creating their own events. So they all want to become celebrities in their niche. From one person talks about water lilies and lotus flowers. And these are very wealthy people that can have gardens of lotus flowers and water lilies. So I'm taking him through that. Both of his books were bestsellers in their niche, in the category. So that's one extreme to where one lady is teaching parents, how to teach their kids to be perfectly bilingual in Mandarin and in English that are in my course. But the 17 people that are in my book writing course are using AI to ideate the process. Then we run it through tools, which then humanize it, where it sounds much more natural. Because if you run something you copy paste out of Chat GPT, it
so
sounds
obvious.
like it is.
Yeah.
And unlock the potential. It starts off with unlock your potential. Break the it's like, oh, Mr. Robot, please. Yeah. And it's a good starting point though. So it shortens the process. It does not eliminate the human side. You have tools that can help you get there faster. So I take people through a 6-week process all the way through publication, running Amazon ads to where they can get their book, get traction, how to get reviews organically, because they all buy and review each other's books. Because more reviews sell more books. So they all buy each other's books. If you have 17 reviews, because everybody buys their books and so does Mitch, and you have positive 5-star reviews over a period of a week when your book is published, do you think that helps or hurts your reputation? Most books up on Kindle, Amazon Kindle, have less than 5 reviews. If they're lucky, most have none. But if you have 17, you have 10, and then if you get some from organic purchases that are genuine, you're on your way.
Yeah.
You're on your way.
I've been told, because writing a book, somebody told me you've got to use it as a lead magnet. You can't just write a book just for a biography. So do you know what I mean? Do you think that you have to have something on the back of it, like a course or a mentorship, ready to revolutionize your content game? Meet Modern IQ, the AI tool that creates SEO optimized, plagiarism-free blog posts with just one click. No more writer's block or endless hours of content creation. Generate high-quality articles that boost visibility, save time, and slash marketing costs. Whether you're a startup or an established business, this tool is your content team, marketing expert, and SEO guru in one. Click on the link in the description to claim your free article and join forward-thinking entrepreneurs who are working smarter, not harder. The future of effortless marketing is here. Are you ready to dive in?
Well, for you, Linda, I would say you're looking at 2 different books. Because before we started the recording today, we discussed about your own personal journey, and you just gave me a snapshot. And then I told you a little bit about mine. That's where we connected on that level. I think a personal journey book will be a catharsis for you, maybe an emotional clearing. Maybe it'll remove some of the blocks that are there. Shame and guilt of whatever you did or didn't do might be that catharsis. That's more for you than commercial viability. Then you need a lead magnet book with a funnel to take people through the process of buying the audiobook, a workbook, a course, workshop, personal coaching, maybe one-on-one coaching. That's the ascension model of a book for business. But I think you have to look at 2. I've just challenged you to work your butt off. Okay.
No, I'm going to take notes of that. I do like that. Yes,
Yeah.
because
You
there's
you need
different
a
facets of me as well, because
sure.
I've got the personal journey, but I've got the business and entrepreneur side. So I
And you
love
can
that
bring
point.
in the personal into the business because people want to connect with the individual, but not every nitty-gritty piece of it. Just that, hey, I was there in my journey, struggling, uncertain about what I was going to do because people buy before and after. People buy
Mm,
from pain to pleasure.
yeah.
People buy from fat to fit, from ugly to handsome, and all of those extremes. People want to see before and after. What sells in weight loss before and after? Here's
Mm,
fat Joe. Here's fit Joe. 6 weeks later, he's got a six pack and a hot bleach blonde on his arm, and he had fat Martha before that, who left him because he
exactly.
was so fat. I
What do
mean,
you go on?
yeah, I'm just making up these names. I don't know if it's Martha. It could be Mildred.
But what's the biggest mistake you see entrepreneurs making when it comes to marketing and branding?
Stopping.
Mm,
Giving up before it's too soon. There's a great cartoon I like to use as an example. There's a cartoon of a miner, two different miners that are picking, picking as they're mining, getting closer to the gold. And one picks and stops, wipes his head, and says, "I'm through." The other one picks another day and gets to the gold. Doesn't stop, keep going. And the old story is Colonel Sanders from KFC. You have KFCs, and
mm,
okay, he was,
yeah.
I think, in his 70s when
60s
he
or
find
65 or
huh
70s? Was it 60s or
65,
70s?
60 years older, well into
Yeah,
the retirement age, and just my phone.
before he
He
became successful.
before he became successful, he was elderly. Let's just put it that. I don't
Yeah.
remember the exact age. We can Google that after. He was elderly, and he became successful, but he got declined over 100 times with his recipe. He believed in himself. He kept picking until he finally hit gold.
Mm,
So I think the
exactly.
mistake that people do is they give up too soon. I mean, we talked about your podcast. I believe it was the right time, right place. You met me. I gave you a couple ideas today, which I believe are going to change. This is the pivot point you needed. I'm not taking
Mm,
credit. I'm just the messenger.
yeah.
I believe some things that we talked about are need to go through it with the guests, but some things that you can change. You quit a week ago saying, "Oh, podcasting's tough and I love it, but it's not profitable," or with this, it is because you met me. Next week, no, I'm not bragging. This
Yeah.
isn't about
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
It's about you asked what the consequence of not continuing is if you give up, start allowing self-doubt or that negative self-talk to take hold, of course you're going to fail because self-perception is reality.
Yes. I
You've
agree.
got to push through and you got to go through the pain because there's a lot of fear. And I'm going to give you a great acronym for fear that I created. Face everything and rise. Face everything and rise. Push through the pain, pleasure's on the other end. When we go to the gym, it's painful when we start doing arm curls. When we start doing squats, our legs and our bums hurt. For a couple weeks, you keep going at it. You look in the mirror, oh, I don't see any change. 3 months later, somebody's whistling at you and you're walking down the street. Oh, wow. This is working. Oh, I can see some chunks coming through my stomach. Wow. I do have the
Mm,
formation of a six pack. Oh, and my butt's got a nice hollowing in it or whatever. I'm starting to look good. My arms are starting to buff up a little bit. Oh,
exactly.
yeah. My spouse said I'm looking good. She's now looking at me like she wants to attack me as opposed to repel me before.
Mm.
You got to push through the pain until you derive that pleasure. It takes a little bit. It's working out. Instant
Speaking about
results
yes, it's
take
things
time.
take time, but speaking about pain and fear, one thing that people are terrified of is public speaking, and you are really good at public speaking. You've been on stages all over the world. So what advice do you have for someone who's terrified of public speaking but knows it's going to help their business grow?
It will dramatically change their lives.
In
Linda,
what way?
I was an extreme introvert. I'll tell you my personal story very quick, and I'll share that what has happened with others. The way to overcome your fear of public speaking is by facing it and doing it and getting better, licking your wounds, because you'll probably suck in the beginning. Most of us do. Very few are natural speakers. No, they've practiced, and then they got through the discomfort of being terrible and uncomfortable. And there are lots of tools. That in itself could be a long, long podcast. But the truth is, I was terrible in the beginning years. I was an introverted, only child. And then I was pushed into it because I went through a very rough time in my life. At 22, both parents died 5 weeks apart. I went on a serious drug and alcohol spiral downward. And then I chose to live versus die. I found something inside of me that woke up and said, I'm going to die if I don't make this change. I chose to change. And then I got involved in a program that helped me get better. I accepted love from others. And then I felt compelled to give back, started to share about my journey of recovery, shared it with others. And then shortly thereafter, I was asked to speak at a friend's event that I met in a meeting and said, "You're a good speaker." I said, "Me?" He said, "Yeah, would you like to share about your business and come up to Seattle, Washington?" I was living in LA, which is about a 2-hour flight, and share to my group of clients, and I'll pay you. I said, "Wow, okay." Flew me up, paid me $500, put me in a 5-star hotel. I spoke for 45 minutes at a lunch and learn, wrote 65,000 USD in business for my small ad agency boutique. And everything changed because I was selling from one to many. Not one to one. I changed from one to many. For me to sell $65,000 would have taken me 3 months in the past. Prior to that, I did it all in 45 minutes. All of a sudden, everything changed.
Can you mentioned that one to many selling versus one to one. Can you break that down and why that shift is so crucial for entrepreneurs? I mean, I've read a book about scaling, and it's just more efficient to have. Yeah, exactly.
Well, what we're doing today, you and I, and let's say we have one listener and you potentially become a client. I've now sold one to many. I'm not talking to just you. I'm talking to the one that listens to your podcast. However many downloads you get and people that actually listen to our interview, I've just sold one to many. I've announced what I do. I'm not selling on this podcast. I'm not tacky and I won't hijack it. I've mentioned what I do. And if people want my services, they'll reach out to me based on your show notes. That's the opportunity for them. I've just sold one to many being a guest on your podcast, haven't I?
Yeah, I totally agree. And then with digital, there's so many different platforms, especially if it's spread out, you're bound to reach somebody as well. So
somebody's bound to reach me.
Yes.
So exactly. I've sold one to many. I've spent an hour with you. I've made a new contact in a friend on the other side of the world. I mean, I'd ask you out for a Starbucks if you were in my city, but you're too far. For ladies and gentlemen, she's very pretty. In case you're just using this as an audio interview. But the opportunity has to be taken and you have to continue. It doesn't stop. Successful entrepreneurs don't stop. Marketing doesn't stop. Okay. You can lessen it. You may start off with a big boom, but you never stop.
You sold your first business like for 7 figures by age 28, right? So
yes.
What key lessons did you learn from that early success? And now you still seems like you still haven't stopped because that's the entrepreneurial mindset.
I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop until I push up daisies and there's dirt on my grave. I'm not going to stop. I retired for 3 years and it was overrated.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Bored. I lived in Thailand for 3 years up in Chiang Mai and, drank coffee sitting on a motorcycle.
Gets
It was
boring.
boring. My brain was turning into dust.
But what
What I
key
learned
lessons did
after I
you
sold my,
learn?
what's that? Yeah, the
What are the keys?
first business. I loved the journey. Then I got
Mm.
paid for it. And then I've sold two businesses since to publicly traded companies in America. One was in the recycling space. And then I started another ad agency. And then I sold it to another publicly traded company back in 2006. And then I went fully virtual. After about 2009, I retired and moved to, I started living in different countries. Each time I learned, had I stuck around longer, I possibly could have gotten more money, but I wasn't there for the money. I wanted the freedom.
Mm.
For me, it's about the passion was gone with each of those businesses at that point. Once I lost the passion and the hunger to go up and do it again the next day, I realized it's time to sell.
Yeah.
And then I invited something else. I went and consulted for a while, and even in retirement, I came, and because I'd written a book, I was living down in Lima, Peru, and someone hit my PayPal account for a consultation for $1,000 for an hour. That's what I would sell it for back then. And then it turned into a consulting account contract for the next 6 months, paying me 16 grand a month in retirement. So I came out of retirement because if you throw money at me, I'm going to probably say yes. By living in my small place in Lima. And then I moved on to Colombia at that point. So I like the opportunity and the freedom when you cash out. I learned when you cash out, there's freedom.
Mm.
For some of us, I was after freedom. I had worked 7 days a week, 12-hour days for years. And I
Well,
was
then
burning out.
when you start building again, because there's a book called Built to Sell, do you have that intention every time you build to sell again?
Yeah, I'll probably sell the publicity business that I've created here in Las Vegas. Once I get it to a certain level, I'll probably sell it because my model is unique. I have a unique twist from what everybody else does in the publicity business. And it's a completely sellable asset. It's not based on my name. It's based on the result, the process that I
Yes,
go through.
exactly.
So I'm going to open up a couple more cities, and then I'll probably sell it to a big nationwide PR firm. And then I'll walk away with another chunk of money and then probably move back to Asia. I don't know. We'll see. That I haven't decided that yet, but that's probably in the plan. I've done it twice before to publicly traded companies, 3 different companies I built and sold, all from scratch. Each of them was from scratch. I didn't buy
Wow.
existing entities. So I started from scratch, from an idea, built it through hard work and focus. I've
I
learned
like
some
that.
things. Yeah, it's hard work. It's not easy, and that guy, Tim Ferriss, that wrote that book, 4 Hour Work Week, I'd like to give him a slap because that's such BS.
Yeah, I've
I
heard. I
don't
haven't read
believe
it,
it.
but I don't want to either because I know that if you want to succeed, you have to put in the time. And even if they say passive income, you still have to set it up and continue to
Guess what?
nurture
He
it as well.
works a lot more than 4 hours a week, and he is a marketer. He's a brilliant marketer, but
Hmm.
his message is completely false.
Yeah,
He's
I know.
actually
He's
a
just
great
selling the dream.
writer, smart guy, and was going to come and speak at one of my events in Dubai, but he wanted too much money. Just wasn't the timing. I mean, and he earned it. No slam on him. But what I meant by slapping him, meaning he's so smart with his message, but his message is incorrect. He can't work 4 hours a week. I don't know what
Yeah.
Elon Musk doesn't work 4 hours a week. Bill
No,
Gates doesn't
exactly.
work. And these people are zillionaires. I
You've
don't
worked
work.
with some big names, but you've worked with Mark Victor Hansen and Dan Kennedy. What's
Yes,
one common trait that you've noticed among these highly successful entrepreneurs?
they all work.
Yeah,
They
that's
don't
true.
work 4 hour days. They don't work Monday through Friday. They work 7 days a week and when it's necessary. And they all write books. All of them. They all embrace public speaking skills. All of them. Every single person that I've listed in my bio with whom I've either shared the stage or has been a client, Sir Richard Branson, I shared the stage with in London I don't know, about 8-9 years ago at the O2 Arena. 40,000 people were there. He's written books, or he's had people write books for him. He speaks. Well, he actually gets interviewed. He's not a keynote speaker. He gets interviewed. He sits in a chair and the host will interview him. That's his style. Dan Kennedy speaks, writes books. Mark Victor Hansen needs no introduction. He sold 600 million copies of his books, Chicken Soup for the Soul series. 600 million. Co-author with Jack Canfield. What does Jack Canfield do? He speaks, writes books, writes books. They work. None of this 4-hour work week bullshit.
Yeah.
That's a crock.
When it comes to speaking, though, right, many people struggle with imposter syndrome. Syndrome, especially when it comes to positioning themselves as an expert. So how do you help people overcome that hurdle?
Fake it till you make it.
Okay.
Fake it till you make it. And one day believe that you deserve. And what you need, oftentimes for me, I needed the external validation to believe I deserved to make big money. I deserved to sell 7 figures from the stage, 6 figures from the stage, because I was a published author. I had been interviewed all over the world. I had all of these feathers. I couldn't believe it, because where I came from, this young alcoholic drug addict that it was going to go nowhere. I was basically a loser. To then all of a sudden I'd built something and I'm somebody, was still hard for me to believe. That's the imposter syndrome. It's like, if they only knew who I was. And I was very quiet about that past much of my career. But at my age now, I suffer from, I don't give a blank what people think of me. Yeah. And if it's to help people overcome that, because many people come from that, they were either honest with themselves and talk about it. I'm honest because I've achieved. I've been to the mountaintop. And I want to help others pull them up to the mountain, to their own respective mountaintops. And a lot of it is their own self-limiting beliefs. But how do you overcome those limiting beliefs? You start credentializing yourself. For me, when I wrote a book, my entire mindset changed. The only thing that limited me was what was existing between my right ear and my left ear. That's it, Linda. Then when I got on TV, then I was interviewed, shared stages with named celebrities, and then all of a sudden I realized, you know what? I deserve what they've got. I've done what they've done. Of course I should make this amount of money. If I don't, then what's wrong? What's wrong with what have I not done? But I've done everything right. Therefore, I allowed myself to receive the success that I deserved. It was no longer an imposter syndrome. I had taken the necessary steps. I had checked the boxes. It's no different than, I happen to have 3 black belts I've earned. I'm a 6-degree black belt in Taekwondo. So I'm a master in Taekwondo. I have a black belt in Hapkido and another system called Kyokushin, which comes out of Japan. So 2 Korean systems and a Japanese system. I had the opportunity last year, but I was in Asia traveling, but I was invited to become a member of the who's who of martial artists, because I also had a very good professional career on the open karate circuit in the 80s when I competed. And I've got these credentials. I've won quite a few international championships back in those days. I went up as successful as I am in business, through media, written books, all of these credentials out there. When it came to my own accomplishments as a sports martial artist, one who competed in competitions, I was not a street guy. I was sport. I had self-doubt. Self-doubt is like, well, wait a minute. This is for the people who taught me. This is for Chuck Norris, who was my original instructor. This is for Bob Wall, who was another instructor of mine, who was opposite Bruce Lee in 3 movies. For those level of people who've already been inducted in the Hall of Fame. I went through this type of invalidation of my accomplishments. And then I had to look at the wall and see the credentials that I have. I've got my diplomas up here for my undergrad degree and my master's degree. Then I've got all the front page newspapers that I've been covered on against my wall over here. And then I've got my certificates of my earning my black belts. So it comes up, and for me to overcome that insecurity, that self-doubt, Linda, I had to look at the wall to then feel worthy. So I had those outside credentials to show, yes, I am qualified. So I wasn't really faking it, but in order to I'm particularly hard on myself. Some people aren't as hard on themselves, and they can fake it or they can talk about it and be delusional. I am legitimate about certain things. I can't claim to be the best accountant in the world. I have no credentials for it. I can't basket weave. I can't sew or anything. I would be lying. But the things that I'm good at, that I've achieved in my life, I've got the proof assets from third parties to legitimize myself. So if you're in business, LinkedIn is a third party legitimizer. Get following there, get on YouTube. It legitimizes you.
You've helped clients land major TV and radio appearances. So what's your number one tip for nailing a media interview when it comes to traditional media?
Write a book.
Okay.
Write a book because it's your unique thumbprint.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's as basic as that. It's the easiest, fastest method for me as a publicist to get clients on network television. Write a book.
Okay.
Come up with a unique spin. It's got to be more than the autobiography of your life. There are a lot of those. The autobiography of people who emigrated, and this is, and it cost me X amount of years in prison, and how I turn my life around and how I'm helping others, potentially. I mean, there are ways of spinning your story, but write a book is easy. It doesn't have to be that. You can be involved. You're jacking the news. You've got a new angle on the politics of what's going on, or using a media calendar. In America, we have our own calendar. You have your own calendar of media. In Australia,
is that certain like key dates and events that are happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have your National Day, your Independence Days. You have, I don't know. Do you have in Australia, do you have a Thanksgiving Day? We have one here, and Canada does too. Okay. You guys aren't thankful. But anyway, we are but Christmas, your holiday. What do you have that relates to the holidays coming up? Do you guys celebrate Halloween?
Yes, we do.
Okay. It's a big retail holiday. Huge. That's another angle. There are different ways to approach it.
Okay. Interesting. Let's quickly talk about success. And, you've worked in many different industries. You've also achieved financial freedom yourself. What does that term mean to you, and how do you guide people towards it? Because before the show, we were talking about what you do, and I was just blown away by how much you charge and make for your masterminds as well. So tell us about that, financial freedom, and how do you guide people towards that?
Well, I had financial freedom, and then I'm going to share my successes. I shared some successes with you, and it would be fair to share some failures. I invested in some businesses I had no business investing in during the pandemic, because in the live events business, it was shut down. I wasn't working, had no income for 2 years. Nothing noticeable. I did some consulting work, but all my masterminds stopped. Nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah, nobody wanted to spend during that time too.
Well, they were afraid. They, online things, and some were getting government funding for certain activities, but it was a very scary time, and me included. I didn't know if my career was over, and I wasn't ready to retire. So, success, I think diversification is key, is relying on one platform, one income stream is potentially perilous.
Yeah.
And I learned that. I was only a live events guy. In-person live events. I did not know the streaming business. I wish I had embraced it earlier. So follow trends and diversify would be my advice or comment about that's what I've learned, is follow trends and diversify.
Okay. And looking ahead, what skills do you think will be most crucial for entrepreneurs to develop in the next 5, 10 years? You mentioned getting a book, getting on the media and press, but what other skills that are crucial? I think public speaking is definitely one, improving that.
Yeah, and I think you have to have a lot of people. Here's the opportunity I see, and I'll answer it this way. People are becoming much more introverted. You see people even at socials, they're in their phones texting the person next to them. If you are able to speak on camera, able to speak in front of a group of people, you will far surpass the people that are paralyzed with their phones. They're in paralysis. They're antisocial. These phones have ruined the youth of today. And they use them at the dinner table. If I had kids, I wouldn't permit them to use them at the dinner table. It's time to actually talk.
And be present as well.
Yeah, I would say learn public speaking, get involved with, start very basic. The beginner's course, of course, is Toastmasters. People do, or Agora Speakers is another organization. There are a lot out there. If you're able to express yourself verbally and one-to-many, you will far exceed the competition. Far exceed the competition.
Powerful. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, especially when you're just starting out, what would that be?
Start speaking earlier. Number one, write more books. I've now got a couple books coming out by the end of the year. I've got one that'll be released in about 2 weeks on the speaking business. Mm-hmm. And we'll speak more, write more books, put them in series, and diversify my investments. Not one investment vehicle. I should have put more in real estate in hindsight. Didn't like it. I would have owned more apartment buildings and had a steady income. However, there's a backfall. There's a challenge when you have financial security. You don't have to work. It kills motivation. I like being hungry. Stay hungry.
Yeah. Some people can get comfortable, but it's good to always be hungry and in the pursuit and be productive as well.
Hang with like-minded people and delete quickly people who drag you down. Quickly, even if they're family members, delete key.
Okay. How would you personally define success?
Health, great relationships, with no need for any kinds of drugs or alcohol or hallucinogenics or marijuana, any of that stuff in order to be happy. Travel, the ability to be able to travel and intermix with cultures around the world. I've been to 63 countries. It's probably one of the best things I ever did for myself. And give a lot to people with less than you.
I like that. That's very powerful. Do you have any rituals that you do to help you? Do you to stay grounded? Some people meditate, some people do training. Is there something that you cannot live without in terms of being the person that you are and to be successful?
It's very basic.
What is that? Yep.
I make my bed every day. My maid comes in on occasion, when I need the house cleaned, but I clean my own sink after I shave. My toilet bowl is clean. My shower door is clean. These are all self-esteem builders. My mirror is clean. I believe in tidiness, good grooming. I exercise every day, and I get 15 minutes of sunlight every day, and I meditate 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes before I go to sleep. Every single day. Those are the rituals I maintain to control my outcomes to the best of my abilities, to control my outcomes. And I do have some things that I say to myself every day, and every way I'm getting better, better, and better. That's my incantation that I repeat until I fall asleep, and that I say in the morning when I wake up, and then I start my day. Get up early. Get up early.
Nice. Guys, if you found this valuable, please do me a favor. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts. And if you're listening on the podcast, please hit that follow button and share with someone that could use this as well. Mitch, where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
They can go to my website, mitchcarson.com, or in the show notes, and they can look at that there. And also, if they're interested in getting on television, if they happen to be in America or they're Australian and want to do virtual television interviews, potentially, getinterviewedguaranteed.com/meet with Mitch. We'll set up a time to chat and see if that makes sense for you. getinterviewedguaranteed.com/meet with Mitch. Linda, thanks for having me today. You've been a great host, and I hope we can meet again.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your time, Mitch. Have a good one.